The auction house reeked of desperation and greed. Marcus Webb stood among the crowd of traders, smugglers, and slave merchants, his face carefully neutral as the next lot was dragged onto the platform. The chains binding her wrists and ankles clinked with each forced step, but she held her head high despite the bruises mottling her blue-gray skin. She was Valoran. That much was obvious from the distinctive ridge patterns along her temples and the way her amber eyes seemed to glow in the dim lighting. The auctioneer's assistant kept a neural pike pressed against her back, ready to deliver another shock if she resisted. Marcus noticed she barely flinched when the weapon sparked threateningly. Lot 47, the auctioneer announced with practiced enthusiasm. Prime Valoran female, military caste, approximately 28 standard years. Captured during the Rim Wars. Fully trained in multiple combat disciplines. Starting bid at 8,000 credits. The crowd murmured with interest. Valoran warriors were valuable, especially ones who survived capture. Their people had fought humanity and the Galactic Coalition to a standstill for 3 years before their homeworld fell. Now the survivors were scattered across known space, most in chains. Marcus studied her more closely. She stood nearly 6.5 feet tall, her frame lean but powerfully muscled. Battle scars traced patterns across her exposed arms and shoulders. Her expression remained impassive, but he caught the way her eyes tracked every exit, every potential weapon, every threat in the room. She was still fighting, even now. 10,000, someone called out. 12, another voice countered. Marcus waited, watching the numbers climb. At 18,000, the bidding slowed. Most buyers were looking for laborers or pleasure slaves, and warriors were risky investments. Too much pride, too much training, too much potential for violence. The smart money knew to stay away. 18,000 going once, the auctioneer called. 25,000, Marcus said clearly. The room fell silent. Every head turned toward him. The auctioneer recovered quickly, his smile widening. 25,000 from the gentleman in the back. Any other bids? No one spoke. That kind of money could buy a small ship or fund a mining operation. For a single slave, it was absurd. Sold to bidder 347 for 25,000 credits. Marcus completed the transaction quickly, transferring the credits from his account and receiving the control codes for her restraints. 2 guards brought her to the collection area where he waited. Up close, she was even more imposing. Her amber eyes fixed on him with undisguised hatred. "I am Kira of House Tall," she said, her accent thick but her standard comprehensible. "I do not recognize your authority to own me." "That's fair," Marcus replied, deactivating her restraints. The chains fell away with a clatter. "I don't recognize it either." She stared at him, confusion flickering across her features. Her hand moved instinctively toward where a weapon would hang at her hip, finding nothing. "What game is this?" "No game." He pulled a datapad from his jacket and held it out. "These are your manumission papers. As of now, you're a free citizen under Coalition law. You can leave whenever you want." Kira made no move to take the datapad. Her eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Why?" "Because slavery is wrong," Marcus said simply. "And because your people got a raw deal. We lost the war. You lost because the Coalition wanted your homeworld's resources. The war was manufactured. I've seen the classified documents." He set the datapad on the nearby table. "You were fighting for survival. That's not a crime." She was silent for a long moment, processing. "You spent 25,000 credits for nothing. I spent it so you wouldn't end up in some mining colony or as someone's trophy. Whether you consider that nothing is up to you." Kira finally picked up the datapad, scrolling through the documents with growing disbelief. Her hands trembled slightly, the first sign of vulnerability she'd shown. This cannot be real. It is. There's also 5,000 credits in an account under your name. Enough to get you transportation and supplies wherever you want to go. Where would I go? The question came out raw, almost broken. My world is ash. My people are scattered. My house is dead. Marcus had wondered if this moment would come. He'd purchased and freed 6 Valoran warriors over the past year, and each one had faced this same terrible reality. Freedom was meaningless when you had nothing left to be free for. I might have a suggestion, he said carefully. If you're interested. Her eyes sharpened. Speak. I'm part of a network. We're working to find and free as many Valoran as we can. We've got about 40 now, maybe 50 by next month. We're building something, a community, a place where your people can rebuild. He paused. We could use someone with military experience to help train security forces. The galaxy's still dangerous, and we need to protect what we're creating. You are human, she said flatly. Why would you do this? Because humanity has made a lot of mistakes. This is me trying to fix one of them. He met her gaze directly. And because I've read your people's history. Before the war, the Valoran were explorers, scientists, artists. You had a civilization that lasted 10,000 years. That shouldn't end because some coalition bureaucrats wanted mining rights. Kira was quiet for a long time. When she spoke again, her voice was softer. What is the name of this place you are building? We call it New Haven. It's on a frontier world, unclaimed territory. Not much there yet, but it's growing. Marcus pulled up a holo image on his datapad, showing a collection of prefabricated buildings nestled in a green valley. We've got farmland, workshops, a small spaceport. People are starting over. She studied the image, something like hunger in her expression. And you need warriors? We need people who remember what it means to have something worth protecting. Your people were nearly wiped out. You understand what we're trying to prevent. Kira deactivated the holo image and looked at him again, reassessing. You are either the greatest fool I have ever met or something I do not have words for. Probably both, Marcus admitted with a slight smile. So what do you say? Want to help build something new? She straightened to her full height, and for a moment, Marcus saw her not as a slave or even a freed prisoner, but as what she had been before the war. A warrior, a leader, someone who had commanded others and bore the weight of responsibility. I will come to this new haven, she said formally, but I make no promises beyond seeing what you have built. That's all I ask. They left the auction house together, walking out into the bright sunlight of the station's commercial district. Kira moved cautiously, still expecting some trap or trick. Marcus led her to his ship, a modest transport vessel that had seen better days, but flew reliably enough. As they approached the boarding ramp, another figure emerged from the ship. She was Valoran as well, with the same distinctive features and warrior's bearing. Her expression transformed from wariness to shock when she saw Kyra. Kira of House Tull? The woman breathed. I served under your command at the Battle of Red Canyon. Kira stopped dead in her tracks. Lieutenant Vera? The two women stared at each other for a frozen moment. Then Vera dropped to one knee in the formal salute of the Valoran military. Commander, I thought you were dead. I thought the same of you. Kira's voice cracked slightly. She moved forward and pulled Vera to her feet, gripping her shoulders. How long have you been here? Marcus freed me 3 months ago. I have been helping at New Haven, training others. Vera glanced at Marcus with something like gratitude. He has done this 40 times now. Maybe more. 43, Marcus said quietly. Kira makes 44. Kira looked between them, and Marcus saw the exact moment when understanding finally dawned. This wasn't about one human's guilt or charity. This was systematic, organized, a genuine effort to undo some of the damage the war had caused. Why? She asked again, but this time the suspicion was gone, replaced by genuine curiosity. Marcus considered the question, then decided on honesty. My brother was a coalition soldier. He was part of the invasion force that hit your homeworld. He saw what happened there, what they did to civilians, to prisoners. It broke something in him. He took his own life 2 months after he mustered out. He paused. I read his journals. Every page was filled with guilt and horror. He wrote that the Valoran didn't deserve what happened to them, that humanity had become the monsters we always claimed to fight against. I am sorry for your loss, Kira said, and her sincerity was evident. So am I, but grief doesn't change anything by itself. Action does. Marcus gestured to the ship. This is how I act. This is how I tried to make his death mean something. Kira was silent for another moment. Then she did something unexpected. She placed her fist over her heart in the Valoran gesture of respect. I will come to New Haven, and I will help build this new future. Not because I owe you, but because it is what my people need. That's all I could hope for, Marcus replied. They boarded the ship together, Kira and Vera falling into conversation about New Haven, about the others they might know who had survived, about possibilities neither had dared to imagine during their captivity. Marcus plotted the course and engaged the engines. As the ship lifted off and broke atmosphere, he allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. 44 freed. Hundreds more still out there, waiting. It would take years, maybe decades.